All right. Angels, as I said, B tier. Tons of money, tons of resources, access to tons of things, but needs umbrella protection, not get steamrolled off the gang and off their influence. Aztec is D tier. Unfortunately, I like them. They got steamrolled by GG and haven't really woken up since.
Hello?
Save Our Souls, brand new gang, E tier. Haven't seen anything from them. Haven't gotten into any fights. Not relevant. The pack, I'm gonna give A tier just because they do control the prison and no one can contest them. Is this Bundy?
Hello?
Is this SCU? What is this?
Hello?
Or the PD? PD is S tier and no one can tell me otherwise. PD gang is S tier. Wastelanders, I don't see a lot from them. I know they're active EU. They kind of stick to their own, probably extremely limited by the lack of a gang app and the fact that their territory is almost never patrolled by anyone other than, you know, for mechanical reasons, which is kind of unfortunate, but probably best friends of fishermen. Chatterbox gang, I am calling B tier because they're terrorists, they're entertaining, they're not particularly gang, and they're not particularly threatening to any of the real gangs, but for like entertainment reasons and the fact they're not scared of getting 9s charges, they're a B tier. Sasanta Nova, C tier, barely held it together against Vargos, but could probably clap Wastelanders and Aztecas, so. Seaside, A tier. Seaside is A tier. Vargos' best shooters left, form their own gang. Alright, The Lost. A tier gang. Up there with Seaside. Huge numbers. Haven't done a lot of wars recently, but they have Crackhead Reed, who will literally follow people around for 6 hours a day because he has nothing better to do, apparently. So, big threat. Right. Therefore, A tier. Maybe I put pack B tier because I'm moving the pack down to B tier, chat. Their influence is limited to just the prison, so realistically they can't fight any of the other gangs on this list, so they get B tier by default. BSK, C tier, getting clowned on by everyone at the moment. I don't know what happened to the war-weary BSK that actually clapped people after they warred with CG. It must have fallen apart. I know they lost people to Marabunta, so maybe that's what happened. I don't know. C tier. Vargos. El Jefe is A tier at least. But not for, I don't know, do we consider the Vargos the gang? Like, do we consider Speedy's bench as part of the Vargos? Because that changes my ranking. I think the Vargos without Speedy's bench are B tier. With his bench and cost prices, I think they're A tier. We consider Speedy as, like, Speedy's bench part of the Vargos?
Alright.
Well then, they're A tier then. Because they can just pump out guns. Mayhem, C tier, I don't see anything from them. Basically, kind of, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think they're that relevant since Condemned Reformed or whatever. They kind of keep to themselves. Farmers Market removal hurt them a lot. They're not really that powerful. CB, S tier, without question, but I am gonna put a caveat here. They are only S tier because of Lang and no one else. No one else in CB. Arguably now with Ray and Marty somewhat, maybe, have some influence, but like people only fear CB because of Lang. That is it. Gang strength is relative to a variety of factors. Do you value connections and networking? Because if so, then Angels are S tier because they have the best connections in the server. They have, you know, meth labs, they have everything they would possibly need, and they've done it all without violence, mafia style. Or do you value like strength and clapping and like open warfare cartel style, in which case CG is S class. If you're talking about not being known to police, then CG is F tier because like the police focus on everything. Depends how you value gangs. We're not just talking fights here, we're talking everything. Position, like how much product they move, how much of an impact they have on the server. So it's like kind of all-encompassing. Mandem, I already discussed. B tier for every, B or C tier for everything else. Content, A tier. Marabunta, B tier. I think they have a lot of people who are very new to the gang. They have a lot of people who are new to the gang and don't really, I don't know, they haven't seen much from them yet. It's, you know, when you pick people up fresh off the train and who are new to the city, I feel like there's always risks involved, and I haven't seen what they're like. I just know they go up against CG every other month, and I've known Sergio a long time, so B tier for now, possibility to go C tier if some of those people end up being shitheads or not.
I got the wing.
Grove Street Bowlers, A tier, without question. Just off, they run the weed game, and they're also one of the probably the most mechanically gifted shooters in the server. Like, if we're ranking the A tier gangs, this is how I'd rank them. That's how I rank the A tier gangs. This is how I rank the B tier gangs. That's how I rank the C tier gangs. Everything else stays pretty much the same. Ballers, just insane shooters, huge amount of members in EU because they focus all their recruitment in one storm, which is the smart way to do things. And control the weed game. Could arguably give Hydra a run for their money in terms of winning fights. However, wouldn't win the war just because they lack money. Like, money is always going to be a Southside gang's like biggest factor that they lack. BBMC? Oh, this is a hard one because Pez was their money. So, and I feel like a lot of their organization, this could change soon. I would have put them at A tier above Vargos. I would have put them on tier with Seaside. Yeah, I know I've got too many gangs on the same tier, but that's why we might shift some people down. So if we just shift everyone down one, we still achieve the same effect, you know? And then we split this tier. So if I was to split this tier, I'd probably split it. If we're looking at it from a content standpoint, I'd do this. It depends, because it depends what we're evaluating. Overall, content aside, if we're just looking in character factors, Mandem's down here, along with Vargos. Because the Vargos don't have a lot of membership now, and outside of Speedy's bench, that's the only major advantage they have. Like, Vargos could probably pump stuff out. I don't know, it's hard to say, because I haven't seen Vargos mobilized in a very long time. They're definitely above Mandem, though. Mandem, I feel like Mandem's biggest issue is that they control so many aspects of the server and they're a great content group, but in terms of like conflict with other gangs, they need so much more experience. They don't have they focus on content, which is great and should be the focus of their roleplay, but it costs them in terms of their ability to fight back from gangs pushing them. Oh, I agree for the roleplay they offer, but this isn't a roleplay tier list, it's a strength tier list.
Oh yeah.
If I was doing roleplay strength, then Vargos and Mandem would be up here. I'm not going to list too many others, but like the Lost would also be S tier. Ballers would be down a little bit, probably B or A tier. Bondi Boys would be S tier as well. BSK, Angels would be down a bit. Well, Angels are pretty good role players. Marabunta would be up more than what they are. If you're looking at roleplay quality or how well they roleplay their character niches, that would change the list significantly. Okay. But this is just a gang strength list. HOA.
Is it shit?
I would hazard a guess and say HOA somewhere in B tier. The only fight I've seen from them recently, I know they're like huge and they have like 40 plus members plus a ton of connections, but the last fight they got into with GG, they kind of got steamrolled.
Not helpful at all.
I just don't know if they've been in conflict for a long enough time. They could easily be A or S tier, don't get me wrong. I just don't know enough about them. So, who we got left? Hydra, A tier, same tier as the top three. I think Lost, Hydra, Ballers, all similar tier. GG, on a war stand front, chat, can I be honest?
I can do that.
I want to see GG go up against a gang that can actually fight, not Aztecas, not BSK. Like,
Nancy,
I was really looking forward to seeing them go up against the Ballers, and I'm yet to see them do that. Like, for me, they haven't fought up yet, they've only fought down. So I want to see them, I'm going to give them a B tier on tier with Vargos, until they fight someone like Ballers, Hydra, Seaside, one of those. Yeah, but they got steamrolled by CG, that's not a fair comparison. Everyone gets steamrolled by CG. And the CG wasn't their choice to fight. I mean, CG's at S tier. I think we can all argue they're pretty much untouchable. Nothing you could do them could matter. They'll have their money back in a week. You could give every single one of their members drug trafficking in one go and it literally wouldn't matter. Mortel. Is Mortel still alive, chat? I don't mean that in a rude way, because we're kind of dead at the moment too, but like, I heard they were going rebuilding and I just haven't seen them in the cage since. But what does rebuilding mean? I haven't seen them hanging out at the cage. Look, either way, I think for the time being, I like Mortel. I'd say they're above Wastelanders, but lower than Aztecas. They're not F tier, Like I know who they are, but they're definitely down there. NBC. Or this one's gonna divide people. People are gonna be mad. Where I'm gonna leave NBC as a surprise. The blocks S tier, and I unironically mean that. Unironically mean that because not only do those people not care that they will get drug trafficking and gun trafficking, they will give you gun trafficking and drug trafficking and won't care because they're all on alts anyway. They're like a no consequence gang for like other people, for themselves. Like they are the most dangerous wildcard gang in the city. If you fuck with them, they will go broke into the negative hundreds of thousands of negatives of dollars just to get minor victories over you. They can snitch and it doesn't affect their reputation because they don't have one. Street team kind of dead right now. I'm gonna say B tier. I like street team, I like forehead, I like bleach a lot, but it's been kind of LPOV for them recently. And to be honest, it doesn't look like they're gonna last much longer. So B or C tier, to be honest. Actually, we'll do Saints. Saints got bullied out of their own turf that they purchased from the Lost by HOA, so they can't be higher than HOA. They cannot be higher than HOA. HOA literally bullied them out of existence. They lost their compound to HOA. I don't even know where they live anymore. I don't think they wake up anymore.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Sinister Souls.
All right.
Sinister Souls, probably somewhere around the Azteca level. So probably above Mortel. Or maybe below Mortel. It's either side of Mortel.
Where'd Chem go?
Royal Mafia, or somewhere around BSK tier. I'd say here. I'd say Royal Mafia is around BSK level. I put them on similar tiers. A lot of I don't know a lot of their members. GSF, this one's an interesting one. Bit harsh on BSK. Yeah, I'm considering this. They realistically, they should probably go here. C tier gang. That makes more sense to me, actually. Move Mayhem up 2 spots. Put them above Sesanta Nove. Move Chatterbox. Chatterbox I put here as a wild card, just because like he has a unique style for his gang, so it's kind of cool.
So quickly, man.
Yeah,
and he's also psychotic, so it's more like a serial killer gang than it is an actual gang. Strong D tier for GSF. No, I think GSF gets a C tier, but a low C tier, somewhere here. They're recovering, but their biggest problem is that if we're looking at it from a roleplay standard, they're S tier. Like, they are an S tier roleplay gang. The problem is, to facilitate gang roleplay, you have to be able to back up what you say. So if you say you're going to shoot up a block, you better be damn sure you're going to at least put them down a couple times. But GSF never puts them down, so
I do.
it's hard to... That's why a lot of the times I feel like they end up RPing with each other more than they end up RPing with the other gangs, because it's too likely to result in a war. So they get C tier.
Are you on
Rust, F tier. We're trash. We don't place. We don't wake up. We're all stuck on a rusty island.
Okay.
Our leader wakes up every day, Habibi, but doesn't wake up. Truly dead.
Are you in here?
Was fun while it lasted. On Me Comms, the original founders of On Me Comms. No, but in all seriousness, Rust. Biggest problems, inexperience. Still working out like how to fight street fights. Ambush fights, aim is not a worry. Connections aren't a worry. We can get access to pretty much anything. Money is an issue. So like relative to the gangs in A tier, so you notice there's a common trend in each of the A tier gangs. They all have some form of money printer, except for Bondi Boys. I put Bondi Boys at A because they manage their money in a way that is still very effective despite having low funds. Like, they don't get into wars all that often these days, but like when they are in wars, they are pretty scary. I would put us arguably either side of Seaside, one or the other. If money at the casino is a consideration, if we're taking heists into account, then either side of Seaside works. Like, I feel like these 3 gangs together are all on very similar platforms. They're just with separate disadvantages. Above Vargos and GG. Well, that's what I said. I'm looking at this from like a combat and strength perspective, right? Like, I said Gulag Gang could easily be up here, but I haven't seen them fight anyone tougher than them. GG could easily be up here, chat, for all I know. Like, GG could be up there with ballers, but they haven't fought ballers. They haven't fought anyone other than gangs that are smaller. Vargos is weird for me because, like, pre-Vargos, I would have probably put it S tier. Prior to the Benji split, I would have put Vargos S tier. But with new leadership, like, the only people I've seen them go up against is Royal Mafia, I think. And, like, it was fairly one-sided, but like, I haven't seen them go up against anyone significant. Street Team doesn't count because they're kind of a dying gang at that point. So GG could easily move into A tier in this top 4. Quite comfortably, but I would want to see them do it with after they've got like fought a significant gang. It isn't CG that just steamrolls them. GG lost a war to Street Team, didn't they? I don't know if they did or didn't. I don't remember. If they did, that's even... Well, GG's a lot stronger than what they were. They have a lot more shooters than what they did, you know, previously. The only ones that I'm like... The top 3 in B tier could all realistically be A tier. Like, you could easily make an argument for all 3 of these gangs to be A tier on strength. The Vargos with Speedy's bench, Gulag Gang with their shooters, and HOA with their manpower, right? Their manpower advantage, Liquid Library, etc. But all of them are relatively untested recently, I feel like. MBC. Poor. This one's gonna start a war. Ready, chat? Ready? Ready for the war? I think MBC is weaker than HOA, but stronger than Mandem. They sit somewhere in here. If they were to all move up, if these 3 gangs would all go to A tier, MBC would be top of B tier. Yeah, but Sabbath, that's us speculating, right? Like, us saying that they could be up there with ballers if Ming got unbanned is speculation. Plus, they've got all these shooters right now, but all their shooters are untested against other war gangs. They've fought with their new squad of shooters. They've fought Aztecas, who aren't the most established gang. They've fought BSK, who are notoriously pretty average at war. Like, and GSF. Like, we haven't seen them go up against Vargos, we haven't seen them go up against ballers, we haven't seen them go up against Seaside, BBMC, anyone of, like, who is renowned for that. Probably should put blocks. No, I genuinely believe the blocks would fuck over anyone they want, and they can do that. The blocks, everyone should put more respect on the blocks name because they can give your boys drug trafficking and forever fuck your time in the city just for a laugh, and it would not affect them in the slightest.